Hi, I'm Alanis. Happy Independence Day to everyone. Today, in this present situation of COVID-19, we are all aware that it is not at all possible to conduct or organize a celebration at our school. So, I would like to speak a few words on the importance of this special occasion. On this Independence Day, we should all feel proud of ourselves because we are a part of this independent nation that gives us the freedom to live our lives in our own way. But my dear friends, this was not the scenario 73 years ago when India was under the British rule, because the British government ruled India for almost 200 years, which means we Indians suffered of slavery for almost 200 years. But with the continuous struggles of the Indians, led by our greatest freedom fighters, our India finally gained independence on 15th of August 1947. But what is the exact history behind it? The history of slave India reveals everything, that how our ancestors and forefathers had suffered a lot, had sacrificed a lot, and especially suffered from the brutal behavior of Britishers. And it took numerous sacrifices of many freedom fighters and decades of strugglings from 1857 to 1947, which in turn led to our victory. Some of our great freedom fighters were Subhash Chandra Bose, Rani Lakshmi-Bai, Lala Lajpat Rai, Bhagat Singh, and obviously the father of our nation, Mahatma Gandhiji. Mahatma Gandhiji is the one who launched the civil disobedience movement with his Dandi March, with his Salt Satyagraha movement. Not only the Dandi March, but also the Quit India movement, the Khilafat movement, and the non-cooperation movement were some of the major movements that led to the Indian independence. And when it comes to the armed forces, our armed forces are well equipped, which portrays India as a superpower on the global platform. And on the other hand, patriotism is really important for everyone, which should be alive in everyone. So once again, my dear friends, I wish you happy Independence Day, and let us try to build a beautiful nation together.
In the truest sense, freedom cannot be bestowed. It must be won. Mahatma Gandhi. Hi all, respected ma'am, teachers, parents, and all my dear friends. First of all, a happy Independence Day to you all. I am C.C.P.L.M.A.I.H.S.S of 10th standard. It's a very big honor for me to present a short speech on our 74th Independence Day of our country. Today is a historic day in the history of India. August 15, 1947 really reminds us of the importance of freedom. On this day, we got independence from British. We are till now an independent country for the past 74 years. The freedom that we are enjoying today is a result of decades-long struggles made by our forefathers and our great leaders. Mahatma Gandhi was the leader who guided India towards independence. India was under the British rule for over 250 years. Gandhiji returned from South Africa in 1915 at the request of Gopalakrishna Gokhale. Gandhiji's contribution to Indian freedom movement cannot be measured in words. He taught us the great lessons of non-violence. We are extremely thankful to all the Indian freedom fighters. They sacrificed their life for India. Some of them are Bhagat Singh, Rani Lakshmi-Bai, Subhash Chandra Bose, Jawaharlal Nehru, and so on. They all struggled a lot to make India free from British. Independence Day is also a very important day to keep the spirit of patriotism alive and at the same time enjoy the spirits and happiness of freedom. It also teaches us to be always same in religion, caste, culture, etc. India is day to day growing. Till now, our country is an independent, progressive and powerful nation of the world. We have the largest democracy. So, because of this day, we are free and have freedom to be an Indian. Let's maintain it and always think of the sacrifices of freedom fighters and struggles and be a responsible citizen who stands for the country till death. I am concluding my words by saying, we celebrate the bravery of our fathers and their gift of freedom. Long may our flag wave. Jai Hind and thank you.
Good morning, friends. Today, August 15, Independence Day. It has been 73 years since we got independence from the British Empire. Today is our 74th Independence Day. It is a great honor for me to talk about our independence. Independence is the celebration of the freedom we won from the British rule on August 1947. It is with a sense of pride that I can say our great leaders fought hard to achieve independence for India. 200 years of British rule, their oppression and injustice come to an end on the midnight of August 1947. Now our India is competing with other countries in all technical sectors. This year 2020, our country and all other countries are fighting with coronavirus disease. We can overcome this situation too. When we stand together, protect yourself and others from virus. Stay home and stay safe. We can pray for all. And I wish all of you a happy Independence Day.
Dear friends, my heartfelt wishes for the 74th Independence Day. One of the largest democracies in the world, India, will celebrate its 74th Independence Day on 15th of August 2020. This day marks the historical occasion when the country finally broke the shackles of oppression and gained independence from the British Empire in the year 1947. Probably here there is hardly anyone who wakes up in the midnight of 14th August 1947 to hear India's triumph with destiny. We are born in an independent country and hence probably understand very little about insult of being governed by a foreign country. So, let's watch a video of the history of Indian independence.
Long years ago, we made a tryst with destiny, and now that time comes when we shall redeem our pledge, not wholly or in full measure, but very substantially. At the stroke of the midnight hour, when the world sleeps, India will awake to life and freedom. 15th August 1947, midnight. India awakes to a new life of freedom. But 2 centuries of colonial rule had decayed India from within, leaving the country ridden with poverty and hunger. Our founding fathers set out to wipe every tear from every eye. They needed a pole star, that single focal point to make India modern and progressive. Something that captured the uniqueness of the chaotic but eternally hopeful nation. A bright light to illuminate the dark storm lashing the horizon of the future. The 1920s was an uncertain period for the Indian national movement. And then came the Chauri Chaura incident. Mahatma had suspended the non-cooperation movement. 3rd February 1928. The Simon Commission arrived to review the Act of 1919 and was met with widespread protests as it had no Indian representation. The British, in their arrogance, proclaimed that Indians were incapable of self-rule and deciding for themselves. Lord Birkenhead, the Secretary of State, in response to the Indians' reactions, laid down a challenge at the House of Lords. The Founding Fathers rose to the occasion. An all-party conference was convened in February and May 1928. Led by Nehru, the committee drafted the Nehru Report in September 1929, demanding self-government under dominion status within the empire. But Quaid-e-Azam, Muhammad Ali Jinnah, rejected the report, stating that from then on, Hindu and Muslim paths were different. He further countered the report with his infamous 14 points in March 1929. Meanwhile, the annual session of the INC was held in Lahore in 1929 under the presidency of Jawaharlal Nehru. They voted for the historic resolution of complete independence and declared the last Sunday of January 1930 as Independence Day. The resolution gave the British Parliament the ultimatum that if they accepted the report by 31st December 1929, Congress would adopt it as it is. If not, they would insist on complete independence. December 31st, 1929, The INC stalwarts gather around the river Ravi. The British have paid no heed to the ultimatum, and thus the Swaraj flag is proudly unfurled. The freedom fighters were prepared for the fight. It was an event so monumental, it would change the course of history itself. Elections were held in 1937. INC came into power and formed ministries in almost all provinces. For the first time under British rule, Indians could become directly associated with the government. The dream of Indians holding the power of the government and serving the masses had become a reality. But the cheer didn't last long. World War II was initiated. Congress ministries resigned in 1939, protesting Lindadgo's decision to involve India in the war without consulting the Indians. Multiple attempts of involving India in World War II failed. With its end, the decline of the British Empire became inevitable. Mutiny amongst the naval rankings in the Air Force was the final nail in the coffin. The Cabinet Mission Plan arrived in 1946 to try and reach a settlement acceptable to all major stakeholders. The plan became the foundation for the establishment of the Constituent Assembly. For a total of 2 years, 11 months and 18 days, over 11 sessions and sitting for 166 days, the Assembly debated and discussed the various challenges facing the new nation. The ideas of liberty, equality, fraternity and justice were embedded deep into our Constitution. On 26 January 1950, the Constitution was enforced in its entirety. It is the foundation of free India, which we have become so accustomed to. It is our duty as citizens to know it, understand it, nurture it and defend it. It is our duty to remember so that we can build the India of our dreams.
So, wishing you all a very happy Independence Day. So stay home, stay safe. So let's fight against the coronavirus and gain. So Jai Hind.
जय जय